Greetings, guys. This is my rockabilly clock, as it were. The question of the day is, what time is it? And the answer is, it's time for the official big reveal of the long-awaited Diegocaster. This was a refinish project I started about 1.5 years ago, and I completed early this year, but it's just waiting on getting the neck for it. So without further ado, I think I've got pretty good lighting in here between natural light and room light. Here we go. It's hard to really express just how beautiful of an instrument this is on film. 11 coats of true oil on the body. It's a one-piece pine body. This thing is shot through with varying shades of yellow, gold, brown, and even pinks. I don't know if we can see any of the pinks on here. And here's the neck, which I'm going to talk about in detail in a minute. Neck was made by Parklane guitars. You can find them at parklaneguitars.com. You can also find them on Facebook. Just a stunning neck. You could easily pay double what I did for a neck like this and not get this level of quality. So the story behind this is I bought this guitar in 2015. I was waiting for the Granville to be built, and it came up on Craigslist. And against my better judgment, I went to look at it, and as I feared, I fell in love with it. It had a kind of a refinished fender neck on it that was relatively chunky. It's probably a 52 reissue or something similar. Anyway, the guy was really cool. We jammed together in Sam Ash, and I ended up sharing the gospel with him. Later gave him a Bible and shared my testimony with him. We had lunch together. He was really excited about it, and he later told me he reads that Bible every day, which is just amazing. I mean, that's the Lord at work. But for that reason, this has been a particularly treasured instrument of mine. It was a great project guitar too. I've changed just about everything on it. The pickguard is original. I haven't been able to find another guard that fits this exact hole pattern, so I've just kept this one. I did sand it back to a matte finish because it was gloss and it was pretty scratched up. Quick overview of the hardware. This bridge is by Advanced Music Products in Nashville. It's cold rolled steel. This is also their compensated saddle design. You can get these through Philadelphia Luther Tools. Really like these. These are the 5/16 brass saddles, compensated brass saddles. It's a standard Tele control array. I've got a 4-way switch in here, which I put on all my Teles. I'm probably going to change the .047 cap out for a .022 or a .033 because it's a little dark for the neck pickup in particular. These are Cavalier pickups that are in here. This is a Fat Lion King neck and a Nashville Lion bridge. They actually pair pretty well together. When I initially put them in, I wired them up standard. I didn't realize that they were out of phase, so I fixed that by reversing the black and yellow wires on the bridge, and that fixed the phase issue right away. They're dead quiet. Fantastic pickups. I can't recommend Rob highly enough for his pickups. Let's flip this over here. This is the back. Just a breathtaking piece of wood. And I'm trying to get in here at the right angle. there. I think I've already got a scratch on there of some kind. Maybe not. Okay. So yeah, this has, get against the yellow background there, the right angle. This has some scripture verses on here that are kind of related to the story of this guitar. 1 Peter 3:15, Isaiah 52:7, 1 Thessalonians 2:13, and 1 Thessalonians 1:6. So I love to put scripture on my guitars. Everything in my life is aimed at glorifying Jesus Christ. So this is the back of this neck. This is roasted flame maple. Roasting makes it very lightweight, very stable. You know, I've heard things about figured necks like flame and bird's eye being less stable. I think that there's some debate about that out there in the wider world, but even if that's true, I think the roasted version mitigates that somewhat. This is a two-piece neck. You see there's no skunk stripe. Tilt this up here and get it just the right position. You can see the seam there. Fingerboard is also roasted flame maple. I'm going to show you here, this is supposed to be a fat C, but I think this feels more like a fat U. This is probably the biggest neck I've ever played. And it's an inch all the way down. You can see it does not come in really at all. You could hit a homer with this thing. I had an all parts TRO fat on here at one time and I got rid of it. It was a little too much. But that had a flatter fingerboard radius and it may have even been slightly bigger. It did not feel as comfortable as this though at all. Abalone fret markers. I can get a close-up of these. Just immaculate fit and finish. Stainless steel 6230 vintage frets. A lot of times you buy an aftermarket neck and you need a fret level. After you receive it, this needed no such thing. The fret ends are perfectly smooth. It's perfectly crowned and leveled. I didn't even have to adjust the truss rod when I put it on. I simply bolted it up and adjusted the saddle heights. This is a single acting heel adjust truss rod. I like heel adjust rods on my necks because I feel like it helps balance them better. All the headstock adjust necks I've had have always felt headstock heavy. And I feel like it affects the sound somehow, but in a way I can't really explain. I don't know, it may just be in my head. But a neck this thick, you're not going to need to adjust it that much anyway. So it's not that big a deal. Fingerboard radius is 7 1/4. Compound to 9 1/2. And I did that. I really liked the vintage frets and the 7 1/4 radius on the Jazz Botelli that I built. So I decided to go with those on these, especially since they're stainless. I don't have to worry about them wearing down prematurely. And the slightly flatter radius at the top of the board helps mitigate some of the fret out issues that can plague smaller radius necks. I'm trying to think what else I can say about this. Let me show you the sides here, the edges a little bit. You can see a little bit of the pinks in there in some places. I don't know if it's coming through on the film. Electro socket input jack. Put those on all my tellies. Much better design than the traditional Fender ones. This is just gorgeous. So the only other thing that may get changed on this, or that will get changed on this, is the tuners. These are some vintage Fender tuners that I bought from a guy on Craigslist who promised me they were a brand new unused set. As you can see, one is a little taller than the others. So obviously not so new. They work fine, but that just kind of bugs me. I have some Goto vintage slotted staggered height tuners coming, which hopefully will fit with this headstock. I think that's pretty much it. Gonna look at the flame on the headstock there. I cannot recommend Steve Parker and Parklane guitars highly enough. His work is immaculate. He used to work for a major neck manufacturer. He's branched out on his own in the last year or so, and he does fantastic work, and he stands by his work. And I'm telling you, you will not find a neck this nice for the money anywhere else. I'm so glad I went with him, you know. It's always a gamble when you go with somebody that's not real well known or a smaller builder. But I have never been sorry I gave my business to Steve. So anyway, that is the newly refinished, newly reassembled, and stunningly beautiful Diegocaster, as I call it. So let me know in the comments. There is more to the story of this guitar. So I'll leave it up to you guys. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about kind of the details of Diego and I meeting, becoming friends, and you know, that whole story of sharing the gospel with him. If you have questions about kind of the evolution of this guitar, because it's had, I think this is the 4th bridge that it's had. The original one that it had was surprisingly this Babbitt's Modern bridge. It's kind of cool, but very incongruent with the style of the guitar. That was replaced with a Goto Modern and a Wilkinson. Anyway, if you want to hear more of those kind of details about the history, other pickups, other necks, other applications I used this guitar for, just let me know in the comments. I'll do another follow-up video about that. And if you have any questions about, one other thing on the neck. This is 1 11/16 nut width, slightly wider nut width. Makes it very comfortable. I've never been crazy about 1 5/8, which most telly necks have. They're kind of squashed together and narrow for me, even though I don't have huge hands. Yeah, so let me know if you want to hear more of the story behind this, or the story behind the encounter that led to the purchase of this. I'll be happy to share those in another video. Thank you guys for checking in as always, and I'll catch you all later. God bless.